Hello, thank you so much for joining me. Today's class will be about an hour long. Today's session will be about an hour long, and it will all be on the floor. It'll be a gentle class. Could be a little bit more intense depending on how much engagement you add yourself, and there will be a focus on freeing your joints. But make sure you've got enough room for a yoga mat. You don't have to have a yoga mat, but at least at that much room. Blocks are sometimes helpful to help lift the floor. And then also a blanket to sit in, and start by finding that comfortable seat, feeling yourself engage in your body and in the moment, letting your eyes close if that is comfortable. If not, you just have a slight gaze, a few feet in front of you, not really focused on anything. And the breath is going in and out of your body. You're filling up on the inhale and releasing fully on the exhale. And your breath might be shallow and jagged to begin with, and that is just the way it is. Don't judge yourself harshly. Just sit and be with your breath and feel how it evens out and grows fuller and deeper as you sit. You can add that slight constriction to the back of your throat. This is just like fogging a window or a mirror with your out breath. You do that same breath as you breathe through your nose, that same constriction as you breathe through your nose, both on the inhale and the exhale. Creates what is called the ocean sound breath in your head to help keep you connected to the present moment. Use it to keep you anchored. Use your awareness to keep you anchored. Feel yourself press down into your mat. Feel that connection to your floor, the building, the ground the building's built into, and then the world that connects us all. So think about engagement, or just gently, actively bring a squeeze to your glutes, press your knees away, flex your feet, and press down to feel that support, that anchoring in. Feel that come from within. Notice how you activate that, and I encourage you to seek that out through the class. My intention is to point that out to you as much as I can. And then on your exhale, lift yourself right up out of that place of support. Take up all that space around you that you are meant to take up. And so you can think about engagement, or lift your heart into the space in front of you. Pull those shoulders down out of your ears. You feel a slight engagement at the top. And you are gently tucking your shoulder blades down, not squeezing them tight, just tucking them into place. So your back body is supporting your front body. You're still breathing full and deep, filling up on the inhale and releasing on the exhale. And then knowing you can stay anchored with your breath and with your body. Coordinate both of those, the breath and the body, by feeling yourself as you fill up on your next inhale, pressing that navel into the space in front of you. And then feel the middle third of your lungs fill up, the ribs move up and apart, and then the breath goes into the upper third. Your heart moves up in your chest. And then you exhale, heart and chest relax, ribs move down and together, and then you pull that navel back and up into your body. So you're sitting and you're anchored and you're lifted and you are coordinating your breath and your body so you can't even tell if the navel is instigating the movement or your lungs are instigating the movement. And you are letting the breath be full and deep. And I, once again, will point out my intention to keep you aware of how you're anchoring, and then also keep you aware of how you are lifting and how it's coming from within as well. Hands to your heart. Take a moment, breathing full and deep. And then let your arms reach up over your head. Gather up some good energy. Exhale, pull it down into your heart center. 2 more times. Inhaling, exhaling, 3rd time. And then let yourself unwind. If you're seated up, you might want to come a little bit more level. Bend those knees. Let gentle movement start to happen as the circulation starts to go, especially if you had your legs really tight up against you. You might be feeling some tingling. That's all natural. Of course, you should never be going to the very furthest state of tingling. So after a couple breaths doing that, just let your legs extend in front of you. Press through those heels and then point those toes. So move through that movement a couple times. Pressing through the heels, pointing through the toes, pressing through the heels, pointing through the toes. And then pause, a gentle press. You don't have to be pressing totally through the toes. I'll turn back this way. Just a gentle press, and then maybe have the toe and the heel sort of close, but be careful of your limbs. You're going to move your ankles apart and together, apart and together. This is subtle but big. It's one of those, and this is getting right into that ankle joint right there in your foot, how your foot fits together. And then pause. Let yourself be supported, and then let those feet rotate together in one direction, and then pause and let them rotate together in the opposite direction. And of course, you can do whatever feels good to you, but make sure you keep this movement in that ankle. You're not really moving the leg a lot. And then pause, let yourself reset, maybe do a few little windshield wipers if that would feel good. Inhaling and exhaling. And then let yourself have your legs extended in front of you. Your knees can be really bent. You're sitting up. And I'll start with this leg closest to the camera. And I've got my other leg bent. I've got a nice wide base. And then my hands are going to be on either side of that knee. And I am going to lift and then bring that leg back. And then lift and bring it down. Lift, bring it back. Lift, bring it down. Lift, bring it back. Lift, bring it down. Couple more. And then pause, let yourself reset. Make sure you have that leg be out in front of you so you've got a nice wide base. Let that other leg be long. Your hands are on either side. Try to stay long in your torso. And it's a lift, bring it back. Lift. So we're getting into that hip joint. Inhaling and exhaling. You're getting in that hip joint and that knee joint. And you're going to pause and reset however feels good to you. Maybe it's the windshield, maybe it's a gentle butterfly of your legs with your soles together. And then let the legs be a little bit wide out in front of you. So you've got a nice wide base. Your hands can be on the floor next to you. You're pressing through those heels so you get that activation, and then just let your feet open so you feel that stretch. So the pinky toe is trying to come down towards the floor, and then bring it so the big toe is trying to come down towards the floor. And so let that movement happen right at the hip. You're being careful with that knee. You're keeping those kneecaps pulled up into your thighs to protect. And then you're going to pause. Keep the left leg still. That right leg, you're going to pull the pinky to the floor and then drag the heel to the left leg, and then bring it to the foot, the big toe trying to go to the floor, and pull it back. And then open and drag. Couple more. This should not hurt. This should be really gentle movement. And then leave that right leg out. Same thing with the opposite leg. Drop it, point, pull. Inhaling and exhaling. All right, now you're going to once again reset, shake the legs out, do the windshield wiper, whatever feels good to you. And then let yourself come around onto those hands and knees. Make sure you've got cushion. If you need cushion for your knees, we will be here in our knees for a little bit. We're going to first press back in that child. Walk those legs as wide apart as feels good. Not so wide that you feel out of control, but wide enough that you're getting this nice stretch. Stay connected to your breath and your body. Feel how you are pressing down and back to find that support, and you are reaching up and forward to take up that space. Inhaling and exhaling. Breathing full and deep. I am going to take just this sweatshirt off just to help. So after a few more breaths in your child, your arms are reaching forward, or maybe they're reaching down behind you, and you have completely reset. Let yourself lift up into your table position. Find that solid, steady table by pulling those shoulders out of your ears and gently tucking that tail so your low back is protected. That means your hip flexors are engaged. You're not hyperextending those elbows. And then let your movement happen in the middle of the back. Inhale. Sway the middle of the back. Come into that cow. Exhale. Press up through the middle back. Coming into that cat. So try to keep your low back and your upper back. So your shoulder blades, and then, right above your glutes. Try to keep that pulled into a place of support. Those are your girdles. No love is ever given to the middle back, so take a few breaths as you move back and forth, feeling that opening in your body. You don't have to go very fast. You're going at the rate that feels good to you. Make sure your knees are only hip distance apart. And then they are right underneath your hips. And then take a breath in that stable table. Make sure you've got room behind you to bring your leg back and that you're not going to kick anything. And then staying with that lift up off the floor, holding yourself in your trunk, not just holding yourself up by those limbs. Bring that right leg back. Press through that heel. You're going to slightly sway that middle back. Inhale, and then exhale, curl up into your cat, and then you're going to start moving through that movement. Inhaling and exhaling. Try to get this more in the middle of your back. That low back is stable. Couple more. Keep pressing into those arms, lifting up off the floor, and then pause. Right leg comes down. We're going to completely rest. Back in a child. So walk those feet as wide apart as feels good. Let those arms come down by your sides if you would like. And this is where you might be feeling it in your wrists, even if you are holding yourself in your trunk. You're gently winding your hands around those wrist joints and those light fists, gentle fists. You're never doing anything harsh with your body as you move. And then up to that stable table, engage your girdle, so that shoulder girdle and hip girdle. You're holding yourself in your trunk. And now your left leg is going to press back. Try to find that length from the crown of your head to the heel of your left foot. You don't want to have the leg way up in the sky. You want to have it hip distance. Take an inhale and then exhale. Curl in. So start to move through that movement. Stay lifted up off your arms. You're holding yourself in your trunk. Curling up into that cat as that nose and knee come towards each other. And then you're going to release down, come into your child completely. Reset. Take the pressure off your arms. Make sure that you completely reset in your child's pose, letting the breath be full and deep. And then back up to table. Turn this way so you can see. Back into that stable table. Make sure you're staying lifted, and then just let your hips sway side to side. You can come down as far as feels good. If you want to pause and get into any nooks and crannies, you're in charge with how wide apart your feet, your knees are. There shouldn't be too far apart. Don't have them too close, but don't have them too far apart. Couple more. Make sure you're protecting that low back as you do this. And then you're going to pause back into that child's pose, completely resetting. Taking a moment, breathing full and deep. Noticing how you feel, staying with your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And then back up into table, and then coming up onto your knees. So now it helps to tilt that pelvis right here so you are in that place of being, of supporting yourself. So you're gently squeezing the glutes. Make sure that you're engaging those hip flexors, those upper thighs, and that right there at your lower pelvis. It's both the upper and the lower body coming together. And you're going to extend that right leg out. So you're coming into that gate posture. So let yourself be breathing full and deep. You're protecting that right knee. That left knee is right underneath your left hip, and you are in your gate. Make sure that you're keeping that tail pulled down. Inhale and exhale. Breathing full and deep. And then you're going to let that left arm, dip down. And then pull yourself up and then dip to the right. Inhaling and exhaling. This is working that side body, those obliques. Remember to put a lot of cushion down if you need it. And then you're going to pause. Hands are coming to your hips. You're bringing that right leg in, and you are letting yourself rest down in your child, breathing full and deep. And then you are lifting yourself into knee down again. Let that left leg come out. Protect that knee. Make sure that you've got that pelvic tilt. You want to engage everything, and that helps you then move back and forth. You're just barely dipping that right hand down. Inhale and exhale. Couple more. And then bring yourself back through center. Once again, back onto both knees, letting yourself completely reset. Back into your child. You can also stack your fists on top of each other and then rest your third eye right there, your brow chakra, right there on your hands, and let yourself breathe full and deep. Stay connected to right here, right now. You might want to grab some blocks. We're going to bring that right knee forward so that right foot can come up between the hands, and we are got our right foot and our left knee on railroad tracks. So make sure, and I'm going to make a little bit more cushion because that, I'm going to fold that up. Yes, beautiful. So make sure you've got your right foot and left knee on railroad tracks. Have your hands on the floor blocks, and notice if you are on the floor, look how curved and low and hunched. That's why I love to bring the floor up to me. Look how much more room and space I have to stretch. And you're going to curl those back toes and let yourself settle into that bigger runner's lunge. Keep that right knee right over that right ankle. Breathe full and deep. Inhale and exhale. Take your time. Stay with your breath. Make sure you've got support and that you feel safe and supported. So I am going to bring that back leg up because we're going to come up to standing, and you want that left knee now underneath that left hip, lifting into that upright position, reaching those arms up. That right leg is forward. So that left arm is going to stay up. That right arm is sneaking behind. See how it's behind? I'm going for that left glute, or just right to where your tail is, and then engage that left hip flexor and lift to, it's almost like you're trying to take those left hands and now tap yourself on that right shoulder. Inhale and exhale. I'm going to turn so you can see. Inhale and exhale. Breathe full and deep. And then bring yourself back through center. Come back into your child, resting completely. Inhaling and exhaling. Breathing full and deep. And then up into your table. Take your time. Setting up for the other side. Make sure that you feel supported Make sure that you have got what you need in order to settle into first the stretch of the hip flexor and that thigh. Try to keep those glutes, those back pockets square. Try to find that length. So remember, right? You don't want that. You want to be right here. Take those full, deep breaths. And then let yourself come back into an upright position. That back leg might have to come in. And then you are setting up for that knee down runner's lunge or warrior one. This can be a bunch of knee down things. Since that left leg is forward now, that right arm stays up, left arm reaches. Inhaling and exhaling, keep trying to find that stability of that lower body and then reach that upper body. And then let yourself come back through center and once again come back into your child, resting completely. And then we're going to come on to the stomach. Take your time getting there. Let yourself get long on your mat. Breathing full and deep. Make maybe a little pillow for your hands. I am going to keep trying to look at the camera, even though I have these AirPods on. But I guess I don't really need to look at the camera, but I might still. You, though, should try to keep your face looking down at the floor. Luckily, I'm an over-explainer, so hopefully I do a good job explaining and you don't really have to look at me. You're going to let those legs extend after you've done a few windshield wipers or wiggles. You're going to let your hands reach back by your sides, your hips. You can turn your palms down, so then your shoulder rotates down. The only thing that's up is your face, maybe a little your collarbone. Press your navel down into, or right below your navel, your pubic bone into the floor. And that adjusts your tail. You're always doing that adjustment of your tail in every position. All right, breathe full and deep, and you're going to lift up the upper body, inhaling and exhaling. You're going to let the arms float, inhaling and exhaling. And only if it serves you, let the legs float and make sure they don't float apart. Keep them together. And you are lifting as much as feels good. Inhaling and exhaling, trying to reach from your middle and get as long as feels good to you. And then let yourself release. Once again, wind chill those legs, wiggle around to release. Take just a moment or two to reset. And then stacking your hands on top of each other with your elbows out. And you're not straining anything, so make sure nothing's too far away from you, that you feel in control. Your shoulders should be engaged. You're going to bring that third eye chakra, that brow chakra, your third eye, to the backs of your hands and gently rest there. And then bring your heels together. And you might bend your knees and bring your heels together. And you might want to sneak your knees wider apart. And that's just to give you a little bit more room. It's helpful that you keep pressing gently your forehead into your hands. And this is a subtle move. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. I am going to keep pressing my heels together and lift my glutes just up to the floor. So I'm squeezing my glutes gently, also using that framework. It's a subtle move. All this is happening in the glutes, not the low back. And then keep pressing into the third eye chakra onto those hands. That helps. Let yourself release from that. Do whatever feels good, a wiggle, a windshield wiper, whatever. And then bring yourself into a Sphinx posture, so elbows now underneath those shoulders, and then keep pressing down, navel dimples down to the floor, to behind you, and you're heavy. Those legs are active, and you are bringing them together, so they are doing a lot. So they're coming together underneath your trunk in order to help support you, and then you are gently pulling through, feeling that stretch. And if this is not good for you, just be down in a little baby cobra right here, still activating your legs, still trying to stretch away. Inhale and exhale. If you are in that Sphinx, you're going to come out to the side. Once again, windshield wiper, rock, circle, whatever feels good. Let yourself move however feels good to you. And then hands underneath those shoulders, lift yourself up into a table, move through a few cat and cows, try to find that movement in the middle back. Keep your low back supported. You might feel a little bit, but I do not want it to be like everything happening there. That low back shouldn't be doing as much work as it tends to do, just because we don't know how to put our awareness into our glutes and our back body, our lower back body, to get that support. So press yourself back into your child, letting yourself completely reset in that child. Remember, you get to do whatever with your arms, and if reaching them forward is just not serving you, just keep them by your sides, or stack your hands, or make fists and stack them, and let your breath be full and deep. Your belly is on the insides of that right and that left thigh. Hopefully you're feeling that massage. Your buns, your glutes may or may touch your heels back there, but they don't have to. But that's where you're going for. And then you're still trying to reach up and forward. Inhaling and exhaling, and then you're going to bring yourself back up. Let's come seated. Maybe bring that cushion down so you are supported, and find yourself in a seated position. Your legs are however feel good to you. Make sure you've got a nice wide base and you feel supported, and then you are lifting yourself up out of that place of support. And we're going to bring our arms up in the shoulders and press through those heels of the hands, and then point the fingers down. So this is similar to what we did seated with our legs, but now we are doing it with our arms. Try to keep your shoulders pulled back into their sockets. Do not hyperextend your elbows. Let that movement happen a few times, keeping your fingers together, pressing through that heel of your hand, and then pressing the fingers down, keeping your hands about shoulder height. And then pause, let yourself relax. Make sure you feel nice and supported still. And then arms out shoulder height, still not hyperextending. Let the palms be up to start with, so thumbs are out, and then just slowly pull the hands away from each other and then together. And they don't have to ever touch. It's just this gentle movement as you try to keep those palms open to the sky. It's happening in the wrists as you're opening and closing, and then flip them over. You're doing it this way. Inhaling and exhaling. And then you're going to pause, let yourself completely reset. Even just holding your arms up to shoulder height can cause quite a bit of sensation. So make sure that you are protecting yourself. So now let's go to the wrist, gentle wrist circles. We did this earlier after being in those tables. You're just letting those gentle fists happen, and you're letting the circular motion of your gentle wrist go around that wrist joint. Go in all the directions, inhaling and exhaling, and then you're going to pause. And then still making sure that you feel stable and supported. You're in that seated position. Arms are coming forward out of the shoulder socket. And you're going to bend at the elbow, pulling that hand to that shoulder. So now you're working that elbow joint. That shoulder joint is getting a little bit of work too, because of course you're holding your arms up. And of course if it's too much, you can always have your arms down and do that. But this adds a little extra. And then we're going to pause. Hands are going to stay right on your shoulders. Open up and then pull together. Open up, pull together. So I'll turn back. Open up, pull together. Open up, pull together. So when you open up, feel those shoulder blades squeeze together. When you pull those elbows together, feel those shoulder blades pull apart. Couple more, inhaling and exhaling, breathing full and deep. You don't have to go very fast. You don't have to go very slow. All right, you're gonna pause, let those arms come down, inhaling and exhaling. Arms are coming into a goalpost position, so elbows as high as shoulders, shoulder blades definitely engaged. Make sure that you're trying to pull your head back. Like your head's not hanging forward as you do this. You want to stay lifted as you rotate. This one's a big one. Even if you're really open, you can feel it. So make sure you are taking care of yourself and not hurting yourself. This should be somewhat of a smooth move. There might be like some creaks and cracks, or maybe you had surgery, or maybe you can't even do this because of some old injury. Make sure you take care of yourself, and then you're going to pause, let yourself breathe full and deep. Let those arms stay down. I'm going to come to the side, and make sure you are staying lifted up out of your seat. Lift those arms up, and then let them reach behind you. Try to stay. So now it's happening where you're keeping those shoulder sockets engaged, and you are reaching up and then reaching behind. Keep trying to press the crown of your head up to the sky. And then you're going to pause with your hands wherever, breathing full and deep, inhaling and exhaling. And then still keeping yourself comfortable, making sure that you're arranging yourself so that you are comfortable. Hands on your knees, anywhere on your legs. Inhale, pull that heart forward. Exhale, dip into that cat. So it's cat and cow seated. Inhaling and exhaling. Make sure you're not dipping too far back that you lose your balance. Make sure you're not pulling so far forward that sends you off balance that way. It's actually not that big of a move. It's a little move. And feel it coming from your spine, from within. And then pause in that neutral position. Next movement is not very big. Also, hands down by your side. Just reach, pull up, reach, pull up, reach, pull up. So you are reaching and then pulling up, reaching and then pulling up. I know typically this is done with that arm raised, but that leads to that arm doing more of the work. And I want this to come from within. This is your center. You are moving right here at your obliques, letting yourself dip side to side, letting that arm just drag on the floor. And then you're going to pause in that neutral position. This next one is not a big twist. It is just a gentle twist to one side, twist to the other side, twist to one side. So your arm's not really going back too far, and it's coming from within. So try to find that happening right at your spine. So it's not happening, like if you have the arms moving a lot, then it's like the arms are doing all the work, or they're starting the work, and you are trying to keep this centered right at where the joint is. This is the last part of the second to last part of the joint fraying. We still have the wonderful, wonderful neck. So after a few twists side to side, now pay attention to that chin. You're going to drop it down and then lift it up. Don't let it fall too far back. So just let it lower and lift a few times. Try to really feel the movement initiating from the inside of you. So it's really like you are just moving hardly anything from the inside, and then that joint is being activated and your head is moving. And then you're going to pause in that neutral position, and you're going to go ear, shoulder, ear, shoulder. Same thing. It's not a big move. It's coming from within. That opens up my sinuses every time. Breathing full and deep. Couple more, side to side, not a big move. And then pause in that neutral position, and then it is a gentle look over each shoulder, not a big move. Slowly moving side to side. Feel this happen right at your top of your spine, at your cervical spine there, as you move your head gently side to side. Stay lifted with that heart. Keep those shoulder blades pulled into their sockets. And then after you're done, you'll be done here in a second. When you're finished, just pause. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself. If you need a drink of water. And then bring yourself onto your back, taking your time getting there. So when you lay down, find that complete and total relaxation. Your whole body feels relaxed, keeping those knees bent. Let those windshield wipers happen. You're in charge of how close your feet are to each other, or to even your body as you rock side to side. Only when it feels good to you. And you keep your lower trunk heavy, and I'm pressing down so that when I pick those feet up, my butt doesn't come up, and then rock and circle. That helps to keep that low back protected. You should feel like you have a weighted blanket on you, and that weighted blanket's got 5 holes. It's got holes for your limbs, and then it's got a hole for your face. And your limbs have got room to come out, but then the sockets, your hips and your shoulder sockets, are all still weighted down, and they're pulling into the floor, and that helps you to get more into your body and pull yourself into the position that feels best and more supported for you. So let yourself move however feels good. Always protecting yourself. Feet up, feet down, some sort of combination. Inhaling and exhaling. Make sure you go in all the directions, and then eventually you're going to be done with the movement. Feet are going to come flat. Hands are going to come down by your sides. Find that clock there at your lower belly. Navel is 12. 6 is the pubic bone. And start to tip your pelvis. So you start to work that low back joint. And then find your 9 and your 3 and start to tilt to the 9 and the 3. And if your legs are moving a lot, if your knees are moving a lot, then this isn't really isolated into your hips. And that's okay. Keep practicing it. Keep trying to find your 9 and your 6 and your 6 and your 12 and your 9 and your 3. And then maybe, yeah, your 7 and your 2. All right, pause. Stay in that engaged position. Press into those feet, hands down by your sides. Keep those shoulder sockets engaged. Lift into your bridge position. Keep pulling those hip flexors up. Keep pulling that tail down. These glutes are really engaged. Breathing full and deep. And then lower down one vertebrae at a time, letting yourself completely reset. Bend those knees, or keeping those knees bent, pulling up above your head, rocking, circling, if that feels good, or you're just doing windshield wiper moves back and forth, inhaling and exhaling. And then keep the feet flat on the ground. Let that right ankle come to that left knee. This is a great place if you want to block for a little bit more. I'm going to bring that block right underneath my left foot. I'm going to have my right ankle on that left knee, and just right here, flexing both feet is a lot. Keep trying to press that right glute and that left glute down. If you want to pick up and reach, you totally can, but that block should give you the same sort of thing. So if reaching through causes you to strain, please don't do it, because this should not be strain. You shouldn't be feeling any strain. Inhaling and exhaling, and then you're going to, if you do have that left thigh, let it come down. Let that right leg come down. Move the block over if you want it on the other side. And then you're coming into your reclining pigeon on the other side. Remember to engage from glute to heel. So you are always trying to press your butt down. So if your butt is off the ground, you really want to try to bring it down to the floor. Inhaling and exhaling, breathing full and deep. And then let yourself come out of that pose, doing whatever feels good, rocking, circling, windshield wipering. You're in charge, always protecting yourself. Inhaling and exhaling. And then taking time to set up into half wind reliever. Let that left leg extend. Pull that right knee in. If you did lift up, bring yourself back long. Press through both heels. Inhale and exhale. You should feel a pinch right there at your right hip flexor. You're trying to pull that right knee into your right underarm. This is the putting on the socks pose. You've got to keep putting on socks for the rest of your life, probably. Inhale and exhale. Let yourself stretch there, only lifting and rolling if it feels good to you. Staying with your full, deep breath. And then let yourself come down. Let that right leg come down next to the left. Take a little breath in that teaser of a Shavasana, and then it is half wind reliever on the other side. So set up, pressing through those heels. You can stay down long on your mat, keeping that chin tucked so your neck is nice and long. Never lifting up. You never have to lift up. It's all about where it feels good to you. But if you want to come into that little bit more engaged position, try not to strain, taking a big inhale and then exhale, letting yourself completely reset in that little mini Shavasana. And then we're almost there. Let yourself move a little bit more. Inhale and exhale. Bend those knees. rock, circle, or windshield wiper, whatever feels good. And then make sure you've got room next to you. So if you've got anything next to you, move out of the way. Lift those feet up off the floor. Remember to keep your glutes heavy. Hands are going to rest. Your knees are kind of touching and your knees are staying over your hips to begin with. Your hands are resting right on your knees and your elbows are tucked into your side. So it's like the book is closed, your legs are a book, and your body is the spine. So, or the whole body is a book. The legs are the cover and the pages. So you're going to open your book and then close your book. Open your book, roll to your left, close your book, open your book, roll to neutral, close the book, open the book, roll to the right, close the book, open the book, roll to center. So make sure as you move side to side that you're being intentional and you are feeling yourself open and close the book as you move. This is not just rolling side to side like this. This is not what I'm showing you. I'm showing you open and close, open and close, open and close, which you really are, the boss of you. And if you prefer that going side to side, you still will get something. But this open and close adds like a whole another dimension to the massage on your back. All right, pause in that neutral position and then let your legs either stay bent with the feet off the ground or the feet down on the ground, arms to the side, and let those knees fall to one side. I've got my knees to the left. I'm anchoring in with my right shoulder blade into the mat, that right hand, and I am rotating my heart and my navel away from each other, trying to get this twist into the middle back. Always protecting my low back, coming through center and letting those legs come to the other side, inhaling and exhaling. And then back on your back. Here's where you take a few moments to do whatever feels good. Happy baby can sometimes feel really good. Make sure you're keeping those glutes really heavy. And we're going to come into Shavasana. So if you like to layer up, if you haven't already done that, or if you didn't even take any layers on, then you're all ready. You can also put a blanket on you. I am going to lay here with you for a minute or so of the Shavasana, and then I will sit up, and you will still have a minute or so, because you get, an extra juicy Shavasana for doing that work. And then I will wake you gently and then send you off into your day. So please take a moment to rest down. If laying down does not feel good to you, you of course can also sit in meditation, but make sure you take some time to reset. practice is over. Everyday life is waiting for you. Don't just jump right back into it. Savor the quietness for a while. Whatever your next actions are, do them with mindfulness. Allow this heightened awareness to linger throughout the rest of your day. Notice the openness in your body as you move. Smile often and pause frequently. Take time to return to awareness. After all, that is what you are practicing, awareness. Enjoy it. So let your awareness be at your breath and body. A little twitch into your fingers and your toes. That gentle circling in your wrists and ankles. And a bend of the knees and elbows. Taking a few breaths there on your back. Rocking, circling, windshield wipering, some combination of that. And then letting yourself roll to one side, rest in that fetal-like position, that very first position you were ever in. Rest there, connect to your breath, feel your navel moving back and forth with the inhale and exhale, and be connected to the power within you to support yourself. And then also potential within you to stretch and reach all within you. Pressing yourself up into that upright position, let your hands make their way to your heart. Take a moment to be grateful. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a good one. Stay safe.